I'm glad you shared that vision with us.
Yeah.
It wasn't just because you guys like saw each other and you're like, beard.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of BIM with the BIMJAs podcast. We got our friends Jessica and Cliff with us today from DEWALT and MSUITE. I was walking around Atlanta, the AU, or not Atlanta, New Orleans last year for AU, and I bumped into this guy at the MSUITE booth, and he was showing me this great product that I think is going to be super useful in just expediting our spooling processes, as well as a lot of other workflows that we've been utilizing throughout MLP over the past couple of years. And then I met Jessica in Atlanta for the AHR event, and they're both honestly great people, good vibes, total positivity coming off of them. So I'll let them introduce themselves and take over for a bit.
Jess, start us off, please.
I'm Jessica Luke. I've been with Stanley Black & Decker for about 8 years, brand new to the construction technology piece of the business after MSUITE was acquired at the kind of mid-2022. So I started with MSUITE back in August. I'm a senior account manager taking care of our existing customers, especially our enterprise customers that we do a lot of partnering with. I am obviously a big DEWALT fan, so I also try to cross-sell in our tools, our anchors, and any other solutions that we currently provide that can bring more value to our customers as a whole.
And I'm Cliff Trotter. I have been in the construction tech space for going on a decade now. Joined the MSUITE team about 8 or 9 months ago, and really looking forward to pushing this to the next level and kind of taking over the MEP industry. So really exciting. Glad to be able to partner up with guys like Cody and the team at MLP.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to breaking MSUITE if I can. That's the goal.
That's pretty much why we wanted to put it in your hands, I think, if we're being honest, right? We need people who know what they're doing to break it and then let us know what's wrong so that we can get it to that next level.
Yeah, I mean, I like to say if it's not broke, I'll break it. So, but that's how you make things better, I think. And it's just from what I've seen on the outside from multiple demos and a little bit of hands-on learning. There's a lot of potential there, as well as in use case now. Whether you're a BIM department or you have a small fab shop and you're looking to kind of go more digital, cloud-based with those, they have the Fab Pro, which I think there's a huge opportunity there for a bunch of companies. I mean, you guys know more about it than me, but maybe you can explain a little bit more.
Yeah, so traditionally the fabrication side of our business is really the sweet spot. So as far as being able to track productivity, labor, basically anything that's coming from your BIM department, your VDC team, whoever's utilizing Revit in your company, and then pushing that into the fabrication shop and getting the data and analytics on the back end on what's going through fabrication, where it is in process, and then once that's moving out to the field for actual installation, that's really where a lot of the impetus or reason why this product was even invented in the first place. So maybe a little history there. Britton Langdon, who's our founder and the CEO before the acquisition, started out at Modern Piping, and that's all they were looking to do, was just create a solution that would help them track something when it went out into the fab shop, and that's what they would fondly refer to as going out into the black hole. So once it left the BIM and VDC department, they had no visibility on it whatsoever.
So I've heard of companies using QR codes on their drawings, and maybe you put them on your spools so you can track it. How is this different than that?
So QR codes is just, I think, one component, and it gives you a snapshot of where a certain piece is at a certain time, but it doesn't necessarily give you a full picture of what that looks like. So for example, at MSUITE on the fab side, we can do QR codes, but that doesn't necessarily give you an idea of what your actual throughput in your shop looks like.
The QR code would be part of the workflow as a whole.
Yeah.
So it's a workflow-based solution for productivity.
So if I'm a small fab shop and I want to be able to now track my production with Fab Pro, is this, how many people do I have to hire to manage this project? what am I taking on here to kind of get this going and onboarded through my company?
So it's not really a big uplift. It's not really a big change. What we're trying to do is not come in and reinvent the wheel with what your company is currently doing. I mean, all we're really trying to do is come in, get a really good understanding of what your current process looks like, and then show you where our tool can help automate and streamline what you're already doing. What we're trying to do with the product is give you an accurate look at what your throughput really is inside of your shop, and then be able to identify bottlenecks so that you can continue to make shop improvements. If through that process you find areas that you want to expand on or streamline further or make changes on, whatever that may be, that's great. We can accommodate for that within the software and change your workflow a little bit. So if you get a new plasma table, we can add that in the workflow piece of Fab Pro.
So at the end of the day, this product's going to automate things and take work off the project manager's plate, not so much as adding it.
It's going to give them more visibility than anything to the project managers. The people working in the fab shop, on the fab floor, that's going to enhance their productivity and give them more insight into where everything is and where it is in the workflow.
Well, as far as taking things off of a project manager's plate, they're not going to be chasing things down or feel like they're going to have to chase things down as much as they normally would, where they might have to call 2 or 3 different people or incessantly call the shop foreman a bunch of times to figure out where this specific package is. Where's this package? What are we doing with copper pipe right now? Where are we with this specific item? He can log in, and with his visibility on the Fab platform, he can see exactly where all that stuff is.
No, I mean, yeah, it's super fancy technology, and the fact that you can see everything on one screen is super helpful. Obviously, we've purchased MSUITE from you guys, and we're looking to start testing out the BIM Pro side of things, but I'm just still real interested on, where it goes after it leaves our shop and how it gets tracked. And it just seems like so many products that I've seen, even at some of the events, it's like, I feel like companies would be so overwhelmed to take on a new product because you gotta onboard everybody throughout the company. Yeah. Is this gonna be more work for us to manage this product and to make it work? Do we have a BIM team to create the models, clash coordinate, create these spools for us to have it work with our Fab Pro license? I mean, what do you guys kind of tell customers that are at that stage? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point that you bring up. I think learning curve and spending time properly getting a team implemented and up to speed with using any solution, regardless of what it is, that's a big time suck.
Yeah.
And for picking up a software solution, that's really something that, quite honestly, you don't necessarily really have the time to do all the time, which is one of the reasons why on the MSUITE side, I really like our approach. Number one, the user experience and UI interface is super easy. A guy like me who's not even a daily Revit user, let alone a Revit user at all, can get in and click around in the product and understand what this specific piece means, what this specific piece means. There's advanced functionality inside of the program, of course, but from that aspect, we could spend an hour or 2 hours with someone who's not even as experienced as you and have them effectively creating spool sheets or doing some easy task that's going to increase their productivity on the Revit side, and also give them the ability to push that information to the fabrication side if they need to.
And then those guys in the fab shop are basically on a tablet, hitting a button, this spool, okay, done, sign, next spool, that's it. And then they go, okay, sent, and then the guy picks it up and then he tracks it. So as long as everyone's doing their job, just like in any normal workflow, work procedure.
Yep.
And that's where we see some of the issues is a lot of times you'll go into shops, there's an older workforce in there, they're less likely to want to adopt new technology necessarily.
No, they're super ready for it all the time.
So we tend to find that if the shop has a MSUITE champion or a technology champion who can kind of, work with the guys on a daily basis or the women on a daily basis and show them the way of, the software can make your life easier. We just have to get used to it, understand how to use an iPad. There's some people who don't even really understand how to use an iPad, and that's intimidating for a lot of people. There are things that are intimidating for everybody, no matter where you are at in your life, age, etc. So when you hand them all of a sudden, here's a new piece of technology, you've only been doing this for 40 years, but here, try this way. That's very intimidating for a lot of people. So you have to kind of ease them into that. So whether that's starting with integrating one machine at a time and then getting each user on, maybe you go that route. And it's all based on each account. How big is the client? How many people are going to be using it? What are their goals? If their goals are time tracking, status tracking, that's a little different than shipping, receiving, and the field. Maybe they don't have a field workflow through Fab. Maybe they want a field workflow. Maybe they're not big enough for that yet. Maybe they don't have a field team. They outsource that. And that GC doesn't want to, pay for the viewer license. So there's all these different kind of customizations that come into it based on, what the salesperson and that client decide up front.
No, those are great points. I mean, basically, when you onboard a client, then you're identifying where they're weak, where they need help. You're helping them through the whole process, making sure that the product, they're getting the most out of the
current
product.
state, future state.
And we can kind of customize it to each part of the process too. So to your point earlier, Jessica, if it is someone who's been doing the same workflow for 25 years, going in and replacing the paper that they've been looking at, that they've been accustomed to looking at, that's a big change. Absolutely. So if we need to start somewhere small and they still want to have that paper for a certain period of time while they work on transitioning to looking at that thing on an iPad, we could customize that part of their workflow, let them have the paper sheet, and still just have them familiarize themselves with the process by clicking that button in MSUITE to move things along and confirm that they're done with that piece.
Like
hybrid. And then we can expand on that.
Yeah, I mean, I can appreciate that. Even working from home now, my printer's always on the fritz. You know how those things are. I can't ever print.
You probably just need more ink, right?
Well, yeah, ink, or I gotta clean the headers, or I gotta throw it out and buy a new one. I mean,
something about the nozzles, I think.
Yeah, I think I have 3 printers in my closet that all don't work or need ink. I'm not sure. But either way, you want to sometimes have a real piece of paper that you can mark up with a real pen and a highlighter, like the old school way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people work, but I mean, I know myself, and I'm more of that younger generation. It's easier to track things. Marking up on a computer or on a tablet's not always the easiest. You try to draw a line here, and it wants to draw a straight line across the screen. And you're like, how do I undo? People get lost there, and it gets frustrating. It's like, I could have already had all my notes. Just it's a transition, and I think we're in those generations where we've seen both, where our children are going to basically just go with it. They're learning on tablets. It's nothing different for them.
Right. I think that's part of what's so important to us is getting feedback from everyone across the gamut. So we need the feedback from the younger generation. We need the feedback from the older guys that are still in the workforce, that are still doing this work every day, because that gives us the best all-around holistic approach to continuing to make this product good for everyone who's going to be working in this environment.
Well, I mean, that's MLP's goal, and I'm sure that's yours, is to make the job easier on the field guys. If we're making their job harder, are we really doing our job, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be the biggest component. And
I think just as like a society has, progressed itself, we all realize that people learn differently. So it's never going to be, one size fits all. Certain things are going to fit better for certain people in different accounts. And we want to make sure we keep that flexibility so that it's not just, hey, okay, this is how we do it. When I worked in automatic doors, you'd have the older generation would always be reading the manual. No matter what came to them out of the box, they're going to read that manual. The younger generation searching YouTube.
Right.
So they're like, if it's not on YouTube, I can't watch a video. You think I'm going to sit here for hours and read this manual? It's not happening. Right. Where the older generation would just be so mad, just pick up the manual, pick it up and read it.
Yeah.
But I get it, that's not how everybody learns. So we're trying to come up with different ways, whether that's our knowledge base database that has, videos and trainings, and in addition to the trainers who will go on site and things that we do virtually as well.
Yeah.
So I know Hayden, I met him last night. He's not here today, but he does a lot of your training for BIM, so you're going to be training us.
Yep.
So does he kind of do some of that too?
Yeah, he does all of that for BIM. So whether it's implementations, if Cliff sells something new and we're going to implement a customer like you guys, Hayden will handle that. So does Brianna back at MSUITE as well. And then he will also go on site, do implementations on site. And then anything customers need in the future, he'll help support there too. So whether there's, we added a teammate, we need more training, or hey, we want to use some more features that you guys offer.
Yep.
And he's putting out content as well as YouTube videos, training videos, stuff like that.
I think we're, getting better at that on the knowledge-based side, but that is the goal, to eventually have things that are video-based where users can kind of follow along in that way and learn multiple ways.
That short form content is something that we're really taking a concerted effort at making better on our end, and that's to hopefully alleviate some of the potential questions that you guys might have, where if you call in and you're like, hey, I'm trying to figure out how to place hangers using that command. I'll say, all right, well, instead of trying to set up a meeting with Hayden where we both have to coordinate schedules, what if I just shoot you over this 2-minute video that shows you how to appropriately utilize the command, provide that to you. 2 things: either it'll help you get you on the right track and you've got it working, or it's still not giving you what you need and we need to get a meeting set up.
Yeah, I think video is going to be helpful regardless, because Hayden's obviously going to train me, and then we have 19 employees at some point.
Right.
Going to need to know how to do hangers and so on and so forth. And just having that material to kind of give them that to get going, I think is the biggest, because then they can ask questions later as they're going. But from what I've seen from your tools are so easy. I mean, you could probably place hangers without a video. I think it was like 2 buttons.
I could back into placing hangers myself at this point.
I mean, I've used a lot of these products. I've seen them all at some of the shows. I'm not going to mention the names of them, but I've seen them. And from what I love about yours is it basically walks you through as you're setting it up. It tells you what you're actually setting up. It gives you pictures and visuals. A lot of what we do in Revit, AutoCAD, it's like you're trying to understand this computer lingo language that they're talking to you in to make it work, and backwards think formulas and trick the program into doing what you want it to do. Or with yours, I don't see a lot of that. It's very, if this, then that, yes or no.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is people just don't know what they don't know. So they know how to use what they have, but if there's other things that they could be using that could bring them more value, they might not know that yet. And so something we've recently developed is a program where you can attach it to whether it's a new sale, you're just purchasing our product, or you're an existing account. It's kind of between 6 months to a year. We want to be able to offer, okay, you guys have been playing around in this for a while now. You kind of know what you're doing. You've had some jobs under your belt. Now let's come in, let's brainstorm, let's have a strategy session. Let's see where we can add more value, what you could be using, what you could be doing better, how we can make it more effective for you. And that's something we're newly going to be offering, but we're finding is a lot of value for clients, because they can play around in it, and then we can come in and say, okay, we see what you're doing. Now, how can we make it better? How can we add more? How can we get more sticky? And so that's been a big value add to the training process for us as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome that you guys are thinking proactively in that way. And also having Hayden, I mean, just someone like that is an asset to me. Just talking to him last night, I know if I have certain things come up in the future, I'll reach. It's always good to have tools.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's an awesome resource. And clients love him because it doesn't matter, what they kind of come up with and what they hit him with. He's usually like, oh, okay, if I don't know, I'll find it out. And that's a really great attribute to have on our technical team.
He takes all of those things so personally, and that's one of the things that I like the most about Hayden and about our whole team. Our whole team in general, really, is that everybody really cares about the customer, the end user, and making sure that we are really providing that value. And I think that that's really starting to ring true more and more. But to that point, if you call Hayden and you're having a problem, he's not gonna be able to sleep at night until he's fixed it.
That sounds familiar.
Very true. That is spot on.
Yeah, there may be someone on this couch that's kind of
Try not to.
He might be in the middle.
Yeah, try not to, but
But yeah, we have a really passionate team. We're really passionate about building out what we're building with the people we have. We're moving really quickly. We hope we're getting more resources and things that can, continue to bring and provide support to all of you guys. That's our biggest thing, is we're focused on support and customer service for our clients and making sure that any value we can bring, we do.
Yeah, if we're not hitting the nail on the head from a customer support and account management standpoint, then we're not doing the right thing. In my opinion, that means we're not listening to our customers and our end users, which are the people who drive this product forward, from development roadmap to just making sure that we're on the right track. If we're not helping you in your everyday work life, we're missing the point somewhere.
Yeah, no, and I think you guys have done a great job so far. I mean, you've been trying to onboard us for a while now, and I think every question we've had or concern you've been able to address. And yeah, we're excited to get it going. It's going to be a great partnership with DEWALT and MSUITE.
Yeah.
Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, from a DEWALT perspective, it's been really exciting to have some of the software pieces now in our business and be able to connect with the end users in that way, be able to bridge that gap, because there's a lot of customers who might use MSUITE but don't use DEWALT, don't really, use our anchors or storage or other products, but then we're able to say, hey, we can also provide you this solution as well. And it also, coming from MSUITE, who they already trust, it's a nice kind of relationship gap.
Right. And there's, we've all been to a lot of these trade shows over the years, and I think it's no surprise that there's been one specific manufacturer who can remain nameless, but they've had a very large presence. And I think part of this undertaking with the MSUITE acquisition is really doubling down on what we're trying to do as far as having a true impact on the industry. And so I'm really glad to see that we're moving in that direction, that we're utilizing tools like MSUITE to do that.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Cliff. Is, the strategy for purchasing and acquiring MSUITE was to have a full solution, to be able to bridge the gap to the end user. Our tools go through distribution, everyone knows that, but being able to have that relationship with the end user and provide them those solutions that truly make their productivity and their process and their workflows better is really powerful. I've been on both sides, selling into the end user as well as, through the distribution side, and the connection and the relationship you can, build with that end user through the software is a lot different than even just the distributors have with that end user. It's just a different relationship that you can't get to without the software side.
Yeah, and I think that's been a really interesting thing to watch with you in specific, since you've been on the Stanley side for a long time. You really have a great understanding of that business, and when you came in to this side of the business, you were like, this is a totally different approach.
Different field, yeah.
It's a totally different relationship style to have, and you've really embraced that really, really well, because I think you truly see the value and how impactful that can be to our end users. And that, again, it just kind of doubles down that I feel like we've got a lot of support and backing from the DEWALT and Stanley Black & Decker team to really push this thing to the next level. And it's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, especially, the future of construction is looking towards fabrication, prefabrication.
Yeah.
And it's Stanley Black & Decker as a whole has always kind of been ahead of that curve, but it's nice to see them really lean into things that are going to be very innovative in the future and are going to change the way the construction industry goes to market and the way that they build things and the way that we work with those GCs and the fab shops. So it's exciting to see, and it's really nice to see kind of DEWALT getting behind that as well. But yeah, thank you guys for having us. It's been great. We really appreciate the partnership. It's been great working with you thus far. Excited to see what we do in the future with you guys.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Appreciate it, Cody. Hopefully you'll have us back at some point.
Yeah, and I'll be a pain in your butt at least for the next few years.
That is the number one reason why we brought you on board. So I'm glad you share that vision with us.
Yeah.
It wasn't just because you guys saw each other and you're like, beard.
That's
just the initial way for me to.
It's like the Spider-Man meme when you see each other.
Kind of bring the guard down a little bit. Oh, Beard, he's fine. I can talk to him. That's okay.
Yeah. So questionable on this guy. I don't know.
I think his beard is fake, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. But I always thought your hair came with your hat too. So.
It did. It did for a long time, and then it got really hot. I was actually in Arizona, and was really hot and the glue melted from my hat onto my head, and I've never been able to get it off. So
It's tough.
Tough. Wow.
it just grows in like that.
Any snakes and sparklers
There's
out
a
here.
reason I wear a hat on every podcast, and you know, I'll let you guess why.
Nobody has to know. Nobody has to know.
Yeah, there's a luscious head of hair under this hat. Don't worry.
You've got dreads, right?
Yeah, you can count all 20
I'll braid
of
it later.
All right. That's my cue. Y'all have fun.
All right.